Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the exponential success coach. And today, special day, I have with me a woman I met in my travels in producing films. She's amazing. Got to talk to her, and it turns out that not only is she amazing for being a good human, but she's amazing in what she does. And maybe sometimes you meet people and they're amazing in what they do, but not also a good human. She's both. Blair Kaplan Venables is the president of Blair Kaplan Communication and the founder of I Am Resilient Project. She is a badass social media marketing expert. And most of our conversation will be about resilience because her story is amazing. Blair, welcome to One Sharp Sword. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Dr. P.
It's so good. It is so good. It feels like forever since I've seen you, and yet, you know, in pre-show we just sort of picked it up and kept it going. So I'm grateful for that. You're, as I said in the intro, you're an amazing human. Talk a little bit about, I like to have people's stories as part of their success journey, and your story is your success journey. So, and it wasn't always pretty. That's the whole thing. It wasn't even pretty at all, actually. So. Yeah. So
yeah,
could I just turn it to you and have you talk a little bit, and then I'll interrupt you, along the way when it's like, oh my gosh, I want to underscore that. So
okay, I'll take the wheel. Thank you for that. So a content warning. I talk about really heavy stuff, addiction, death, everything in between. If this triggers you, if you feel like big emotions coming up, pause it, step away. Do what you need to do. Take care of your mental health. And if you need support finding a mental health professional in your area, you can connect with me and I will help you. Awesome. So I don't know who out there knows Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, but that's where I'm from. It's right in the middle of Canada, minus 40 Celsius winters, plus 40 Celsius summers, everything in between. Don't know the Fahrenheit, bad at math. But I'm the daughter of a man who lived with addiction and a child of divorce. I was very close with my father. And what I didn't know is that he developed a severe addiction to cocaine. He was a diamond dealer and a gemologist, and his addiction got to the point where it was so bad that he sold the business and left my mom, left the family, blew up the family, and had to basically go on his own journey. And as a little girl who was close with her father, I thought he stopped loving me. It wasn't explained to me what was going on. And I don't think we knew in the 90s what we know now. But my dad's addiction, just to paint the picture. So it went from snorting cocaine to injecting like a synthetic heroin, him running out of veins to inject, not being able to snort anymore, to smoking crack for over 40 years. He was always functioning, always had a job, like driving cab, like very like basic jobs to help feed his addiction, and lived not on the streets, but like kind of like one step above. He always had a roof over his head. In the community I grew up in, like that wasn't normal. I mean, like, I don't think it's normal at all, but it wasn't something that was around anyone we knew. So growing up, I had a lot of situations where my dad would be like, oh, I'm going to come to your birthday party. And I'd be waiting by the door at the roller rink and he wouldn't come, and I would skate a lap around and he still wasn't there. Or he wouldn't come and show up when he says he would. Blair, I'll pick you up for family time for dinner, and I'm running late. I'll come in an hour. And then it doesn't happen. And like my heart just shattered. I developed severe abandonment issues, anxiety, depression, all sorts of trust issues. And so growing up, there was a lot of anger, a lot of hate. And simultaneously, while this is all happening, I found a love for travel, for oceans, for mountains. And I actually ended up going to school for something called public relations. Okay. And it's cool because my dad was an entrepreneur, and I have a lot of entrepreneurs on both sides of my family. And it literally like pulses through my veins. And I didn't know where this path was going to lead me. And in my 20s, I finished university and I moved with the company across Canada. And while moving across Canada, like I went from Winnipeg to Edmonton to Vancouver, I was actually given the gift to go to something called the Landmark Forum. I did not care about personal development. I wanted a free trip. I was like, yeah, cool, a free vacation. But actually, at this place, I was given the tools I needed to forgive my dad. And so I did. I had the most beautiful conversation with him and decided to just accept him for who he was and take whatever relationship he can give me, whatever communication he can give me. And from that day on, he began his journey to harm reduction. I would never say sobriety because he never was fully sober, but he developed a relationship with me, a new one. Like I never thought I'd have another chance. He was more involved in everyone's life. He started to come visit me across Canada. It was amazing. And then unfortunately, at the end of 2018, we learned he was terminally ill. Mm. Yeah, COPD, and then we eventually learned lung cancer. So he was a cigarette smoker since like age, I don't know, 12 or 13, I'm not sure. And obviously 40 years of smoking crack, like not good for you. Right?
Not really good for anybody. No.
I was lost. I finally had my dad back in my life. I lost about 15 years of him. And now what? Like he's being taken away from me again. And I was having trouble processing. And so I started sharing our story to anyone who would listen, friends, family, whatnot. And our story was inspiring people to forgive someone in their life, to get therapy, to choose sobriety. And I said, Dad, our story is helping people. What if we write a book and we gather stories of resilience from around the world, and we bookend this book with your story at the beginning and mine at the end, so when you're no longer here, our story can still help people. And so I started, at the time, it was called the I Am Resilient Project, but since then we've renamed it the Global Resilience Project because I manifested too much resilience, and I'm about to tell you what happened. You ready, Dr. P?
I'm ready.
Okay, so it gets a little heavy. So I learned my dad's going to die at the end of 2018. We decided we're going to work on this project. We, as in me, myself, and I, because my dad can't do this. And then March 2019, we officially start the Global Resilience Project. And from that moment on till this very moment, I'm going to give you a high level of some terrible things that happened to me. My grandfather helped raise me. He passed away. That wasn't traumatic. It was just sad. On the way home from his funeral, my husband and I got in a car accident and I got a concussion. Brain injuries suck. A couple months later, my husband had a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. So my husband almost died. He was in his early 40s. Then a few months later, COVID. We all know about COVID. Don't need to go down that. We were already at home, safe, recovering. So we had practice. we were ahead of the curve. And this whole time we struggled with fertility. I was told I probably couldn't get pregnant naturally, and I probably would need medical intervention. Shane and I didn't know what we were going to do, and I was going to be sent for tests. So I thought, okay, I'll wait a bit, enjoy summer, and go in the fall. So a year after Shane's heart attack, we actually got pregnant naturally without even really trying, which was magical. However, we miscarried. On the day of the miscarriage, we learned my father-in-law had cancer. My father-in-law was the dad I never had. He was the dad I always wanted, and we had a beautiful relationship. 3 weeks after learning he had cancer, he died. 3 months later, oh, wait till you hear this. 3 months later, my mom learned she had cancer, pancreatic cancer, not even official. She didn't even make it to a biopsy. My mom learned she had cancer, died 3 weeks later.
That's fast.
And then within the same year, my dad died as my mom. Like a baby, father-in-law, mom, and dad died in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And so I had a choice. I could give up. I could face plant into a ditch, which I thought about, but I kept going. I kept going. I put one foot in front of the other, and I did what I needed to do to survive. And the Global Resilience Project became more than a book. It came out in June 2022, and it was an international bestseller on Amazon. But we've also since then launched a podcast called Radical Resilience, and I became an international motivational speaker, and we're going to be featured on an Amazon Prime show, and we're going to be at the Emmys Gifting Lounge, and we've just developed this global movement. And I've really learned to turn my pain into purpose, and that's my life's work. And I just want to say that I've went a full year without someone dying, and that's a big deal.
That is a big deal because you start to, I mean, there's got to be some psychology of what's wrong with me? Do I have this negative halo? Am I like the angel of death? Or
Oh my God. Okay. The fact that you just said that, okay, like in between like the death circus, I think I was like, after my mom died, my husband and I were camping. And at this time, the miscarriage happened and my mom died and Dave, my father-in-law, died. And we were camping and my friends came up and my friend's like, I don't know if I want to hang out with you because you're kind of like the angel of death. And I was like, what? Oh, I'm just an angel. See?
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
You are an angel. And I think that, what you're doing and bringing your message is so important. I mean, anybody else would start to wonder, I think, and start to kind of withdraw. I'm imagining that you touched and played with depression a little bit.
I have depression. I live with anxiety and depression. I am sober. When I learned my dad was going to die, I didn't find myself turning to alcohol, but when it was around, I would have it. It would help me feel better until the next day when it made me feel bad. And alcohol was a bridge to very bad decisions that was leading me down a similar path to my father. So I made the decision to December 31st, 2018, that New Year's would be my last time drinking. And I didn't know until when, but I couldn't navigate my dad's end of life feeling like that extra level of anxiety and depression. I had to cut out what didn't serve me. Yes. I woke up January 1st, 2019 to an apology letter from my dad. I haven't had a drink since.
That's amazing.
But I'm also like, I believe in therapy. Like I've seen grief counselors. I've done, psychedelic healing with guides. I journal. I manifest. I meditate. I'm on a healing journey. Like we're the walking wounded. And alcohol was numbing the ability to heal. And over the last 4.5 years, it's like I started from scratch. Like, who am I? Who actually am I? I had no idea.
That's so great.
Yeah.
The existential dilemma allows you to sort of start over, right? Who am I? And then the question is, well, who do I want to be?
Yeah.
Right. And it allows you to actually step into that next place. Who am I? And some people take that to a really dark place. Who am I? I'm a tiny speck in the giant cosmos, and I'm nobody, I'm nothing, versus who am I? I'm somebody who can be a small light to light another light, to light another light, and let those lights really become a beacon for others. That's who I see you as. That's why I wanted you on One Sharp Sword on my program. Blair, will you talk a little bit about, or I should say, will you talk a little bit about the the steps for resilience? If somebody's sort of feeling like, dang, I lost this, I lost this, and it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be car keys, it's like, I lost something. It was important to me. What am I supposed to do with this hole that I'm feeling? Right? Can you talk about the steps?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some definitions first. So resilience. What the heck is resilience?
Hey Blair, what the heck is resilience?
Yeah. What the heck? So I used to think of it as like a rubber band that when you put it like on two fingers and you like pull it far apart, and then you let go and it snaps back. Like I used to picture resilience like that, bouncing back. And then I had this epiphany doing a healing session. And I was like, what am I bouncing back to? I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. And like, once you go through a challenge, you're not the same person. You have new lessons learned. You're at this new level of life. So resilience is bouncing forward from a challenging experience. That's my definition. I mean, it's our definition. You could use it too, but it's bouncing forward.
It's a great definition, bouncing forward. I talk about in my work, I talk about spirals. You might feel like you've come full circle, but really in doing the work, you've come to a different place with a different perspective and you've leveled up. So you're talking about bouncing forward to a new place. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. So the second thing I want to talk about is a resilience muscle. Now, this isn't something you're going to see on like an anatomy chart in biology class. It's like this invisible muscle we all have that goes from the very top of our head to the tips of our toes. It runs through every fiber of our being. And like any muscle, there are things you can do to make it stronger. So why do you have a resilience muscle? Well, that's the thing that drives you forward to bounce forward. It's what you need to activate or use, engage while navigating a challenge. And there are things you can do when things aren't hard to strengthen that muscle. And these are things that you can also do when it's hard. But, if I go to the gym and I'm doing like a lot of arm exercises to get stronger, and then you ask me to help you move a couch, I'm ready. I'm ready to move that couch. So there's a lot of science backed ways to be resilient. I have 5 I like to focus on, and they're really easy to implement. Like there's really no excuse to not implement them. So why don't I share with you the 5 secrets to strengthening your resilience muscle? And these are the things that I recommend implementing if shit gets hard.
Could you share with us the 5 steps to
the 5 secrets? Yes. Okay.
5 secrets. Awesome.
Number 1, practice gratitude. And yes, this sounds cheesy. And just to clarify, I'm a woo-woo Jew, like I'm wooish and Jewish, but this is backed by science. I watched a video in 2016, well before my life completely imploded, got shitty, whatever. And this video was Sean Acor. And what he talks about in this video is that if you practice gratitude every single day at the exact same time, and you list 3 things you're grateful for from the past 24 hours, and you do this for at least 21 days, your neural pathways in your brain get rewired so that you see the world in a more positive way. I saw this, I was like, that's too easy. I pulled out my phone. I decided to set my phone alarm to go off every single day at 9 p.m. I labeled it the gratitude alarm, and it's been going off ever since. So practicing gratitude, that's helped. The day my mom went to sleep for her final time, me, my mom and sister practiced gratitude. The day my dad died, me, my sister, my aunts, my uncles, and my grandma practiced gratitude. We were grateful we were all together. We're grateful my uncle made it from BC in time, and we were grateful my dad was no longer suffering. There's always something to be grateful for. If I'm in a bad mood and my alarm goes off, my husband from across the house might be like, I'm grateful for hockey, cats, and boobies. Like, there's always something to be grateful for. In days where I just am miserable because I'm a human, sometimes I'm grateful the day is over for my bed and Advil. Like, you never know. So I invite you to open up your phone, pick a time, call it the gratitude alarm. It can be first thing. It can be at dinner. I've been at parties. We all stop and do it. I like 9 p.m. because I go to bed early. And for me, it's a beautiful way to end my day. And if I'm having a bad day, it's just something that I can, wrap my head, like it just ends my day on a more positive note.
Can I share with you something? It's my show. I'm going to share stuff.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I mean, for me, there was a period of time in my life that was not exceptionally happy. And I would open my eyes and start my day, and the first 2 words out of my mouth were, oh, shit. Like, no. Here we go. It's another day. And this isn't the story I'm going to tell today. I just will shorten it and say a lot of things happened to shift my life so that now, instead of those being the first 2 words out of my mouth, when I wake up, when I sit up and I am greeting the day, the first 2 words out of my mouth are thank you. And so starting my day with gratitude has changed everything, because I've talked about, I am annoyingly perky in the morning. And it is that it's like, oh my God, what a great day. Like, there's so much to do. There are people to serve. There are people to lift. There's creativity to put on paper or out in the world in a different way. And it just, gratitude is, it doesn't sound woo-woo. I don't think my audience will think it sounds woo-woo. And if they do, then again, I mean,
welcome to the woo, if you do.
Right. Whether you're practicing gratitude or not, I invite you, along with Blair, who's encouraging you, start living into it. Find 3 things in the past 24 hours. I love that as a challenge. 3 things in the past 24 hours. Do that every day and watch how your life changes.
And if you have kids, like, it's a really cool thing too. Like, I've seen my friends, I don't have kids. We're not having kids. I have cats and a husband and plants. That's all. But I've seen my friends, like, with their kids, do it at dinner.
Yeah.
And like, they go around and talk about like their day. And it's a really cool practice to, do with your kids, because then they grow up doing that. And they're already programming them as their brain develops to see the world more positively. And it's cool to see kids doing that.
Name 3 things you're grateful for today. What happened today? So instead of, did you have a good day at school, which is right? Yes or no. It's like, hey, what 3 things are you grateful for today? I love that. It's great practice. All right. So that's number 1 of 5.
Okay. So number 2, how do you fuel your body and your mind? Fueling your body and your mind is important. What are you doing that you need to remove from your life? And what aren't you doing that you need to add? So obviously, eating healthy, like protein and, vegetables. And are you drinking water? Are you drinking too much wine? Are you eating too much pizza and nachos? I know that when I'm eating healthy, I feel better. I know when I am depressed, like, my mom died and I ate a cookie dough blizzard almost every day for a year. And I ate a lot of bagels and I turned into a bagel and I felt shitty. And because I felt shitty, I ate bad, and it was a cycle. I'm human. But when I eat healthy, I feel better. I can function better. When, I chose to remove alcohol from my life, best decision. So I think, like, setting yourself up now for when things get hard is important, because changing your eating habits, I'm not a dietitian or an eating coach, but changing your habits takes time. I've worked with obesity doctors and nutrition coaches. Like, I've had to have help because I don't drink. So now I turn to food. And then also, so what are you eating? What aren't you eating? Drink water. That's the easiest thing to do. If you have access to clean drinking water, there's no excuse for you not to drink water. Think about it. You have a plant, your plant's not watered, it dies. You are a plant. Why are you watering your plant and not yourself, right? And then what you consume is really important.
Cheers.
Cheers. I can't talk and sip, but so just pretend. I love shows like Grey's Anatomy and like the firefighting shows and the Real Housewives. But when I was going through the dark night of the soul and I felt really lost after my mom died, I actually had to cut out a lot of those shows that had death and drama, because what you consume matters. Is an energy exchange. Like, there's energy putting out and you're kind of absorbing it. So same thing goes for music. I love all music. I love hip hop. I like Britney Spears. I like metal. I actually had to stop listening to some of the heavier music because it was too much for me. Like, it would just make my head pound, and it wasn't filling me with joy. And also what I read, I once my mom died, I stopped watching the news. It was COVID. I was like, COVID's nothing compared to my mom suddenly dying. Like, she learned she had cancer. When she learned she was terminal, they're like, you have 2 weeks left to live. And she died 3 days later. Like, it was really crazy. And I was like, I can't deal with the world right now. I need to focus on myself. And it's okay if you need to turn off the news. It's okay if you need to stop reading about drama. It's okay if you just want to consume like books on grief and healing, but what you consume matters. And also cut out what you need to cut out. I also cut out the Real Housewives while I was healing, because I just got sucked into their drama and it was an escape. And what I really needed to do was heal. So for a really long time, I didn't really watch any TV. I would just read and listen to music and try and be outside. So how you feel your body is important.
Beautiful. It's true.
It is true.
You are bigger than the life you are leading. It really is time to attend to that thing you've wanted to do or have, but you've been putting off. It's time to step into that dream you've parked for someday. It's time to claim true well-being, both personally and professionally, without giving up the success that got you here. It's time to check out Dr. Pernell's signature small group retreat, the Exponential Success Summit. Explore exponentialsuccesssummit.com. Seats are extremely limited as this is a very special small group event. www.exponentialsuccesssummit.com.
Okay, number 3, forest bathing.
Say it again.
Forest bathing.
forest bathing.
So what forest bathing is, it's a term
Run,
that came
forest, run. No,
yeah.
forest bathing.
Yeah, you're not bathing with Tom Hanks. What you're doing is you're actually going out in nature. So in the 80s, this term came, I think, from Japan, but it's the concept of like going outside and being in the forest, being amongst the trees. Yesterday, for example, I had one of those days where I sat at my desk and all of a sudden it was dinner time. I've had like maybe a bowl of yogurt, hardly moved my body. I felt terrible. So I normally start my day off with going for a walk, getting outside, breathing in the nature, and I do that throughout the day. You need to have time in your schedule to get outside. And if you're living in the concrete jungle, that's totally cool. Like, that's fine. Still get outside. What you can do also is fill your office with plants. I see you have one. My whole office is like there's plants everywhere. I have faced my desk to look out the window. I'm looking at hedges and mountains. I get outside every day, even if it's raining, even if it's snowing. If it's snowing, it's actually a lot harder when it's -40. But like, spring, summer, fall, I come to life. I'm solar powered. Put my feet in the grass, bare feet in the grass. Put your bare feet in the grass, in the sand, in the water, whatever you need to do. Be outside. Being outside increases your immune system, like it makes your immune system stronger, and it's proven to reduce anxiety and reduce stress and stimulates ideas and creativity, especially if you're walking outside. So if you're like, whoa, Blair, like I actually just like wake up, get in my car, go to work all day, come home, like go, that's not going outside.
No, it's not.
Take your lunch, go outside. Like maybe after dinner, you go for a walk with your family. Like just, you need to be outside.
It's there are multiple reasons for that. Partly it's the negative ions that are generated by being around plants. Partly it's you get to breathe differently. And very much it's the difference in focal length. You're actually giving your eyes and therefore your brain and therefore your mind and body a different break. If you're stuck looking at a certain distance from you to your computer screen, that's bad for everything. And notice also, I'm doing the yes and for you. And it's like, notice also that if you're at your desk, you tend to slump. And when you're walking, you actually allow your breath to fill your lungs. Your lungs are no longer compressed by sitting. So
Yep.
I'm a big fan of get outside. And I've not heard the term forest bathing. That said, I love that. So awesome.
It's yours. You can use it. It came from the 80s. So did I. I came from the 80s too. The 80s had great things. Okay, so number 4.
Number 4, yes.
Sleep. So simple.
It is so simple.
So simple. When you have a lack of sleep, you have anxiety. When you have anxiety, it's hard to sleep. Depression, either you can't sleep or all you do is sleep. Maybe you oversleep. I don't know. But what are you doing that's taking away from your sleep? I know I need 7.5 to 8 hours worth of sleep. I know what time I need to get up in the morning. Therefore, I do the math and I figure out what time I need to go to bed. I will leave parties. I will kick people out of my house. I will say no to plans. I will leave when I'm out somewhere because sleep is my priority. When I don't have sleep, I feel like shit. And now because I don't drink, I actually feel hungover if I'm tired. And like to the point where like if I'm tired, I will have a nap. I will cancel meetings if I need to rest. Sleep is so important for your mental health and your physical health. Your body does a lot of healing when you sleep, but your mind needs it.
And do you know the biology behind that?
No, I don't, but you can share that and I will learn.
Very good. So my dissertation was actually on sleep and exercise and self-concept and more. The very nutshell version of it is this. When you are exerting yourself, either mentally or physically, your body and mind need repair. When you've exerted yourself physically, your body says, cool, I'm going to drop into delta sleep or deep sleep, stages 3 and 4. That's where human growth hormone is produced. Your muscles repair. It's great. What happens is stages 3 and 4, delta sleep is expanded and the time for REM sleep is shortened. And that also happens during times of depression. REM sleep is shortened. It's during REM sleep that you get neuronal repair. your neurons really refresh. And it is during REM sleep that your memory is integrated and other such things. So here's the thing. If deep sleep, which expands during depression, it expands during body repair, ends up taking more of your sleep time and REM sleep is shortened, you end up with brain fog, which is why you feel crappy. It's like, wow, I slept deep, but I'm not thinking straight at all. And it's like, well, take a nap, because you end up doing what's called K-spiking during the day, which is you're looking at something and all of a sudden you're in this mini dream. And it's like, oh, dang, like, what did I miss? I was dreaming like for just seconds, but it's called K-spike. It shows up. So this is a long way to go to say, to emphasize what you've just said, Blair, which is sleep is so important. It is so important.
And like, so there's little things you can do, because I guarantee most of you can relate to either when you go to bed, you scroll on your phone for a while, or when you get up, you scroll for a while. Can you cut out that scroll and sleep a bit more? Yes. The answer is yes. Stop your scroll. And like, if you know you need to scroll before bed because that's your thing, then get into bed earlier. And listen, I know some of you out there have young kids and can't sleep. That's obviously like, I don't know how to navigate that. I have never had kids. That sucks. I'm really sorry. But one day you will be able to sleep again. And so do what you can. Nap when the baby naps is what they say. But like, again, I'm not an expert in being a mother. And I know I have the gift and the privilege of sleeping without having to take care of a baby. So sleep is really important. Protect your sleep.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Exactly. And number five is
wait. Number 1, practice gratitude. Number 2, fuel your body and your mind, and be careful with what you're fueling it with. Number 3, forest bathing. Get the heck outside. Number 4, sleep. Protect your sleep. Get it done. And now, number 5.
Drum roll. Share your story.
Nice.
It's okay to not be okay. You don't need to slap on a smile and pretend you're fine when you're not. Sharing your story can look like a whole bunch of different things, but the first thing to do is admit that there's something going on. You know when something's going on, and you can't pretend it's not going on. Like, that's not good. It's going to manifest in a bad way. It'll show up as an illness or weird hives. Like, I've been there. So what does this mean? Well, maybe you've never seen a counselor or a therapist, and you feel ready to process those feelings and start to heal with the help of a professional. But if you're not ready for that, that's okay. Maybe you stand in front of a mirror and just say it out loud to yourself. Just like actually talk to yourself and get that story out. Maybe you pull out a pen and paper and you journal. No one ever has to see this. This isn't a public forum. Like, you do it for yourself. You write out your feelings. How are you feeling? Where do you feel in your body? What's going on? Why?
It's so important. It's so important. Just like, use a journal.
Yeah.
Dump your feelings into a place and hold on to it and review it. The more you can actually distance yourself, I think, from your story, like, it becomes there's less drama. It's just a story, right?
Well, my husband's like, I don't like, I have a therapist, and it's like, Blair talks about her story all day, every day. I'm like, because it's my story. It already happened.
Right. You don't have to relive it and relive it and relive it. Mm-hmm. It's part of what made you without having to be anchored to it and stuck in that past. That story becomes a springboard to move forward, bounce forward resiliently.
Yeah. And so you can also talk to a trusted family member or a friend, or you can share it on a blog or a website, or even in something like the Global Resilience Project book. And sometimes your story, when read by the right person, will actually help someone navigate a similar challenge, because you share what happened and how you got through it. So there's science behind that. It's scientifically proven that when you share your story, it helps you heal, and that reading other people's stories while you're having a challenge helps that person heal. So tip number 5 is share your story.
Yes. I'm having little internet issues, so it paused a little bit. That said, there's a storm here, believe it or not. That said, the whole idea of sharing your story it helps you heal. It helps others who hear it heal. It's been said that we are here to be the witness for others in our lives and in their lives. And I think that's something that as humans, we do quite powerfully, and we don't always recognize that we do it. And it's really important to share your story without having it have to be a dramatic thing, even if it's a traumatic thing. And to be able to say, and this is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm doing. There's a reality to being human. And I'm so appreciative of this. This is there are 5 great, solid, not so secret secrets. You put them together as a beautiful recipe. And it makes for a great life. You don't even have to be bouncing forward from something horrible to be using these secrets to make for an amazing next chapter for yourself.
And you don't want to wait till life gets hard to do the things. Start doing them now so they become habits and rituals. So when life gets hard, your resilience muscle is stronger, but also you have some routines and rituals that you can still practice that will help you navigate your challenge probably a lot faster.
Exactly. Yeah. Get through it. Because you've got the skills. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So this is amazing. I feel like we've covered so much. What is there anything we left out? Is there anything that you were hoping to share that you haven't?
Well, that's my whole story. I'm very visible on social media. This month, when we're recording this, I'm not sure when it's airing, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month. There's Bereaved Mother's Day, which is the first Sunday in May, and that's for mothers who've lost children. I think I want to be that lighthouse in the storm. The community we've built, the Global Resilience Project, is a safe space to share stories of resilience, to read stories, hear stories of resilience. It's a container for big feelings. And I want to normalize these conversations because guess what? Grief, for example, it's going to happen to you and it's going to suck. It's going to suck. Someone you love is going to die. That's how it's going to be. And if not, then I don't know, maybe you're superhuman or you don't know anyone. Maybe you're alone.
No, but people and animals and, there are people in your life that will pass. And, funny enough, you may at some point as well. And and so preparing the people around you for that is important.
And preparing yourself. Life isn't going to be easy. So there are things you can do now so you're not so blindsided when life hits you from behind, or whatever the saying is. But and also our website's theglobalresilienceproject.com. If you want to share your story with us in our next book, we would love to have you. There's only 125 spots. The book will be out late 2023. Our story is going to be shared on Amazon Prime, which is amazing. We have a global reach there, and we're going to be giving out books at one of the Emmys gifting lounges to celebrities and to media. My goal is to empower 88 million people by August 2025. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to hit it 2 years early, which is great because I love to be early. So, just let's move the needle and help the world be more resilient, and let me be that light at the end of the tunnel for you.
That's great. The light at the end of the tunnel or the light in the darkness? Because the light at the end of the tunnel is usually that light you see.
Really? I don't know. I always just say light at the end of the tunnel because I picture driving under a mountain tunnel.
Yeah, when people talk about it, the light at the end of the tunnel, it's usually the light they see as they're dying. That's how
well, also, I would love to be the light you see when you're dying.
There you go. But be that beacon in the darkness. That's also good.
Be the lighthouse in the storm.
Let me ask you something. It's the Global Resilience Project.com, right? So it's right?
It's
so
the.
Good. The Global Resilience Project.com. And Blair's holding up her book.
You
Awesome.
can buy the book on Amazon. You can visit us. You can read stories, follow us on social, watch from the sidelines, be involved.
Awesome. And do you want to also just talk for a moment about the PR stuff, the social media amazingness stuff you do when you're not doing resilience?
Oh my God. I feel like that's a whole nother episode, but yeah,
It totally is. Just give a minute or two to it.
Yeah. So at the age of 23, at the beginning of the recession in 2008, I left my job and I started a PR company. And at that time, social media marketing wasn't a profession. And when I was out networking, trying to make money, because that's what you got to do, everyone would say, do you know how to use this thing called social media for PR or for marketing? And I was just said yes. And I figured it out and I took what I knew from PR and applied it to the digital space. And so that was 15 years ago. And so I'm the creator of something called the Social Media Empowerment Pillars. They are the 7 pillars that you need to build out in a strategy if you want to be seen as a thought leader. And this is my own system that I've created. They're the 7 elements you need in a strategy. You know, I do group coaching, private coaching. I even build out strategies for clients. So my gift is that I'm extremely creative. I'm an out-of-box thinker. I don't make the rules. I just break the rules. And my biggest thing for social media is F the algo. I don't create content for an algorithm. I create content the way I want to create it. And that's what I work on with my clients.
I love the mantra. F the algo. That's awesome. That's good. So at this point, then, how do people find you? One is the globalresilienceproject.com. And what if you've just sort of shined this beam of light and go, I want you as my social media maven?
Well, I can tell you how to find me. It's very easy. You go to your internet.
What?
And you type in
the internet? Yes.
And you go, my website is blairkaplan.ca. Shout out to Canada. And it was just cheaper at the time. I was 23. I couldn't afford anything else. And so blairkaplan.ca. I'm available on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. I'm very active on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, I am Blair from Blairland. So Blair from Blairland is my username. But yeah, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm easy to find. If you Google my name, I come up. I'm the only Blair Kaplan Venables. So
very good. I'm gonna put all of these. I'm furiously writing as I'm talking. I am gonna put all of these on our show notes so that people can find you. This was fast and furious without it being too furious. It was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. And I am so grateful for you being here and sharing your story again and making it accessible to everyone who, needs, like, we all at some point are going to need to be resilient and bounce forward. So thank you. Really, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you so much for giving me a safe space to share my story.
It is awesome. All right. Well, who did I have? Blair Kaplan Venables. That's who I had. And she's talked about the globalresilienceproject.com. That's where you find Blair. Also on Instagram at Blair from Blairland.com. And if you need help spelling Blair, it's Blair. So you can find her. And amazing. Again, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I loved it. Awesome.
Yay. Awesome indeed. This is one sharp sword cutting through to what matters most. My guest today, Blair Kaplan Venables. I'm Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the Exponential Success Coach, and we'll see you here next time.